My friends, Hermitcraft has an Enderman Farm, and I can't keep the Enderman out of it. There is just an endless amount of Enderman streaming into here. Oh, this is crazy. And this one has an on-off switch. I can't remember the last time I saw an Enderman Farm with an on-off switch. That's pretty cool. I like this. It's also got me wondering, is there a filter for mob heads? You see, around here, there are chests for enderpearl. That one at the top there is empty. But yeah, if an enderman head were to drop, it might just be getting chucked out into the void, which I believe is what this contraption over here does. It's not doing that right now because I have been over here to fill up some enderpearls. Of course I have, because I actually need these in the build we're currently doing. You know, it just makes it so easy to get around sometimes when rockets don't work in confined spaces. So, decided to come over here and fill this all up. There is also a sword there. I bet that's for sweeping edge, right? So, I think Jevin built this farm, and I was going to comment on this. Like, the outside here, Enderman can teleport to it. So, like, why are they not? Some of them have decided to teleport over here. Yeah, anyway, let's grab an enderpearl, and let's head back to our base. Bet you've seen that trick before, right? Editing magic. Anyway, we need enderpearls to get inside of this building because it needs lighting up. It's been expanded, the decorations on the outside are for the most part being finished, and what I wanted to do here was grab the camera account and do a little bit of a fly around. So a common piece of feedback I got on the previous episode was that the base didn't quite feel right. There needed to be more structure. So I added in some of these pillars of iron blocks going down into the bottom base, and I think that helps break up the flatness of it. Now when it comes to the area up here, what you'll probably notice is that there's now this big towering section with a bulge coming out the back. And that is because I felt like it would make the overall structure look a little better. So I spent my time going around adding some of the details we've seen before, adding these new ones with the end rods on the side of the building at the top there, and all in all, it came together really well. So the problem now is that on the inside there's going to be loads of unlit spaces, so I need to bust in here and throw down as many torches on spots where mobs might be able to spawn, and I've got to be super careful as well because I was live streaming over here and there was actually a creeper inside of this contraption, which would be disastrous. So need to go around and light this up, and this is where those enderpearls come in handy. So with that little job taken care of, I went to work tearing down the contraption that sits outside of this building to push all the concrete powder in, as well as converting it to actual concrete. And with all of that out of the way, we're actually now going to be extending this outwards and creating like a network of paths for materials to be pushed into the blast chamber, because it's not just for concrete. There are other things I want to attach to this whole system over here. And so I have envisioned some towers that hold up a piping system. And after thinking about it for a while, there's a material I've wanted to include in this block palette, and that is clay. Now, when you're having a pipe go from a building to another building, the bigger that pipe is, the less it's going to keep its charm, I think. So keeping it nice and small and compact is the way to go. So this will be our pipe, but the problem is, due to the way the redstone works here, you can see that the middle of the pipe is going to get offset by one. And we're just going to embrace that, you know? We're not going to try and tear our hair out making this all symmetrical. Now what you're looking at here is unfinished, and that's because I'm just wrestling with a little bit of redstone over here. I would really like to be able to hide the redstone dust on the side here so we can have these blocks coming all the way over. In fact, that one's breaking it right there. And I would like to hide this redstone dust, but it might not be possible. So I'm giving myself some time there, because of course what I'd like to do is make this all nice and seamless so that this stuff comes all the way up to the edge and you've got your concrete going all the way across, and that'll make it look nice and clean. So those support pillars below might get adjusted if need be. And boy oh boy, do they look fantastic. There's going to be more of them over here in the jungle, and the plan is to have another tower, a place where we create the concrete powder into concrete and push it along. But first of all, what I wanted to do was take the space down below and actually build up a wall, as we're going to have a secure wall around this entire area. And stepping back and looking at it from over here, it's obviously missing something. Details are to come. But one thing I'll say about it is that it's kind of thin, which doesn't feel right when you look at it from here, but when you look at it from front on, you don't get that impression. Anyways, we are going to build a tower at the end of this. We're going to connect these two walls together, and then that way you don't really ever get to quite see it side on. Maybe you'll get that impression if you're flying around or something. I also toyed with the idea of keeping this open, but I've been thinking about breaking up this floor by having pathways around the place, and I actually want to use this middle area as a way to walk between different parts. And I kind of looked at this as like maybe here could be the entrance. And that kind of means that we wouldn't want this open and having an entrance over here. I think that could work, but probably going to have to change up the material here on the bottom. Then we could have some sort of opening, maybe even a redstone door. But anyway, I'm getting distracted. It's all about the tower here in the corner. And what sort of tower is it going to be? Well, I actually kind of want to make it feel like a little bit of a lookout tower. But as you can see, we're kind of going with all the elements of the theme we've established so far. And what we'll include in this build is like a floor with some space for windows to kind of create that lookout vibe. And now down here on the inside of the build, you'll see that the walls have been connected across, and that we're going to be continuing what we do on this building over here on the sides of these walls, both on the inside and the outside. Oh yeah, and the tower is definitely unfinished. You see, what I wanted to do was have this floor right here as the lookout area, but then I kind of realized it's too low down, so I left that little space there open, and we'll probably put a window in that space over there and just have some other sort of material at this area. Now I hear moaning and groaning. I've made an accidental mob farm. Okay, I'll have to sort that out later. Oh, and I have a question, by the way. I want all of you to answer in the comments down below. I need to know if other Minecraft players do this or not, okay? Look at that. Dirt. You know what's on the other side of that? It's the concrete, and I'm going to have the concrete come over here on this side. So what I do to save materials in the long run is fill in the bits where you never actually see them with something like dirt. Do you do that? Let me know with a comment down below. Now, we will be returning to the blast chamber and the tower later on in this episode. Right now, I like to change things up, as you know. We're going to work on the concrete shop, and I have been doing an absolute ton of digging around here. On the inside, I've cleared everything down, all the way down to the very ground level. And not only have I cleared out the space on the inside, I have also been working on the exteriors. I got so many comments from people saying I should add more colours to this. So we decided to add 4 more of these. We've got magenta, brown, orange and cyan. And those, like the blue, red, yellow and green that we have going on, have been featured twice. And they're kind of like on either side of the building. So over here, we've got those colours again. And the brown one is slightly different as it signifies an entrance. There is the entrance to the warehouse over on that side. And this will actually be the main entrance to the entire building over here. Now the inside here looks absolutely amazing, but clearly it's got some edges that need kind of tidying up. And that's sort of the next thing that I want to do, is just get in here, tidy up the walls, start to get things in place so that we can figure out a layout for this, as there's going to be 2 levels to this. We're going to have like the warehouse area, and then above it we're going to have the shop floor where the hermits can come and buy all their concrete. But first of all, we've got to tidy up, of course, and so I've been just popping up these scaffoldings, going in, placing blocks on the corner edges, and getting this thing looking a lot tidier. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but the problem is that I have to go high up like this all the time with the scaffolding and work my way from the top down, and all I've done for now is just fill in these edges so you can really see how much tidier it looks. If we just drop down here and take a step back where I've done that, you can now feel those outlines coming into place, and it looks really good. But we got to bring the white concrete all the way down to the bottom. Now, would you look at that? Isn't it glorious? Isn't this place wonderful? Also, check out what's behind me. So much white concrete has gone into this build. I just logged in to see this guy's mouth. Is that a mumbo stash on Grian's It looks like a bushy mouth. Grian says, I feel more manly, yes. Oh, it looks very peculiar. Distractions aside, we need to start putting the floors of this shop in place. I need to figure out what material that is, and it's probably going to be around this level for this spot here. So we're building above all the redstone and the rock shop, and we're probably going to put a window over here that peers down into the warehouse. So this whole floor right here is all for Corrales to do his magic, And I've even left a little opening over here because I don't think I'm going to be using this space here myself. And that is because the rock shop takes up most of what you're seeing right here, coming up to around here. That's why there's so many torches plastered everywhere, to remind me why this rock is in the place that it is. So the layout of this thing is going to be dictated by this a little bit. And that means that over here we're probably going to have a floor at this height here, and then it's going to have a little staircase up to sort of the next height. There's a lot of planning out to do here. And while that's happening, I'd like to take a moment to announce this weekend will be a Hermitcraft livestream weekend. Of course, you can see the schedule on your screen, and you can go to livestream.hermitcraft.com to get links to all of the Hermit's channels. I hope to see you there. Make sure you pencil it into your calendar or put it into your schedule. It's going to be another fun weekend. And I'd also like to update you on the folding at home situation, where we are together as a community doing research to help the current situation with COVID-19. These are the latest numbers, people who are contributing to the cause and using their computers to do scientific research. So a big thank you to all of you. I will continue to post these numbers from time to time, and if you want to get involved in this, I've made a video on my xisumavoid channel. You can find a link to it in the description box down below. So getting back into it, I've got a design decision for the floor here. I think it's going to split opinions. It is stripped oak wood, and this really just gives me this feeling of a work environment where the floor has been worn down. These are like tiles that have been weathered over time. That's what sells it for me. We've got this strip of jungle over here, which I might change up, and then what you'll probably see with this is the occasional burst of a pattern. But I've deliberately distorted any patterns I've put into here to kind of give it a feel like it used to have a pattern, but then it kind of got worn down over time. Now you probably also noticed the glass and the iron bars. I'm kind of tinkering around with this at the moment. It's not quite working for me, but I'll get there. And from down here you can see this really does look like a deliberate viewing area into the warehouse. And there's all this scaffolding around the place, so let's explain what that's about next. To get anywhere with this build, I felt like I had to see it all come together. And so scaffolding was a key block for figuring out where the floor heights would be, where we might squeeze in a staircase, and with this, I can really feel it coming together. It would appear though, I don't know where the staircase to get to the next floor is, and it will be at this height here. It'll be a rather big floor, but we don't want to lose this sense of scale when we look upwards, and so the next floor over here is only going to occupy this corner area. And as we go out in this direction, I only want to occupy the space to the left of me, maybe a little bit to the right, as this is going to wean round and sort of cover this corner here. So we will have more of these kind of areas looking down onto the warehouse floor. And so with the time that I've had, I realized that these staircases can be fit snugly and perfectly into these corners over here. And I'm starting to build up some pillars, and over here it just lines up with the floor at the perfect height, and this is like our first little complete section right here. The thing is though, from down below you can see this texture and it just doesn't quite look right in the ceiling. Now my first instinct was to cover that up with some half slabs, which I might revert to, but over here I toyed with this idea of having iron bars work as like steel framing underneath holding it up, and I think we'll give that a try. And I'm not really sure about this. I don't like the way it connects with the windows, or when it goes close to them, so I've kind of avoided that. And I think I just need to give this a rest now, you know, come back to it with fresh eyes. You see, it is actually late in the day for me, and I'm going to be heading to bed soon, and I've been thinking about running my own little experiment right here in the Nether to do with the button. You see, every now and then I come past it, and it's getting close to yellow. So I thought, if I just stayed here overnight AFK, then this thing might be better in the morning, but it might also die if no one comes by. So I'm actually going to tell other hermits that I'm going to be loading this overnight, and then they'll probably come by and press the button from time to time, right, which will keep it alive. And then in the morning, hopefully no one's pressed it for a while, and we might be able to upgrade to yellow. But this is a risky strategy right here. I don't want to end up being the one who makes the button die. So I'm definitely going to tell all the other hermits. And so the experiment began. First of all, I announced my intentions in chat to the server, and it drew a crowd as Hypno and Scar came over. And then I decided to make a little AFK cage and put a sign on it explaining that I was AFK, simply loading the button. And then I decided to hit record, and overnight I actually found that Scar was the only person to press the button once it hit green. because he's part of the green team and he wants to stay on the green team forever. But what would you know, later on I came to the computer and it was on yellow. And looking at how long I've been AFK for, this was actually pretty close to going to the next level. So we are definitely going to try this again at some point in the future. But that was it. Super simple. I am now upgraded to a yellow belt. Now the fun doesn't stop there, my friends, for I actually woke up in the middle of the night, okay? And I thought, go back to sleep, you need your rest, forget about this silly little game. And I did. I went to sleep, and what did I dream about? The button. And I dreamed that I went and got the yellow button. And so when I woke up after that, I thought, okay, I'm actually going to go check the computer. And what do you know? It was on the yellow button. Ah, and that over my shoulder, there is a little bit of sadness that comes with this. We are no longer part of the green team, and Scar has built this gorgeous tree over here in the Nether celebrating the green team. As you'll see down below, it says green team only, which means I can't go in there anymore. I'm now on the yellow team. So my friends, I have a little bit of an admin update for you. You see, here at Hermitcraft, we have been experimenting with how we run our server, and we've actually found a way of getting way more performance out of this thing, which is fantastic. And it means that I can do more AFKing. You see, when a lot of people log in, it's time to log out if you're AFK, as the server tends to struggle. But it's not doing that, and it means I can spend loads of time in this area loading our iron farm, and I just happen to be running low on iron, so this is terrific. You know, we get what we need. However, I've noticed poppies are in here. Why are poppies making their way through our item filter? The only reason I can think of is if the iron golem dies directly over the top of this hopper, and then it picks up too much that the filter down below doesn't take them out, right? But still, this seems like a lot of poppies to come from just one spot in the whole area. Anyway, I'm not going to rebuild the redstone here. It's really just too much effort for something so minor. Oh, and this up here, this should totally be a redstone lamp. I think I didn't have glowstone at the time. So now I know, redstone lamp on, farm on. That's what I like to see, all stocked up. By the way, we also got 50 bone blocks out of this. And when I was loading the iron farm, I was loading our bee farms as well. So no surprise, we are getting fully stocked up here. 'Cause I got a golden ticket. So we've run some errands, I've repaired my gear, and down here in this space you'll see a couple of piles of unimpressive blocks at the moment. I feel like this space is now going to need to be filled up with things that make it feel like a work yard, a hazardous place. You might also notice that the pathway I speculated at being here has been pulled out, and that's because the support struts for this tower have been changed and the redstone up there was updated. So I reached out to Ilmango about compacting this, and he actually sent me a newer design which involves having some redstone torches here. They power redstone dust that powers two pistons to update this, which causes it to fire really quickly, and that takes place on both sides. If I go and whack a block in here, just like that, it's moved almost instantly. It's like magic. In fact, this piston, it isn't even pushing me. So the shape of this thing is a little bit smaller. It's also wider, so this whole design changed down here. And what we're going to build next, just in this space where the trees I need to clear are, is a T-junction where we can have two alternate inputs, putting things into this line of materials going towards the blaster. So figuring out how to put this in the correct spot, I realised I didn't do this last time, I just kind of winged it. And that might mean that this could have been a little bit longer. I'm going to double check in a second. There we go. So now I can count the distance. 9, 10, 11. Oh no, I actually got it completely right. Okay, so that's as far apart as it could have been. Excellent. So the encasing of this next module, it goes really high. And I'm even leaving a hole here so that that piston can fire up and this can be one block lower. But look at it, this thing is basically going to be a monstrosity compared to the other ones. And yeah, look, the pipe coming in from this side has to be slightly higher. Now the reason for that is because we need to push the blocks downwards into the space that then pushes them across over there. I'm not sure if it can really be done another way, but I'd love for all of you to let me know if there was, because before we get further along with this project, having them at the same level would be nice. But anyway, what I built here is based off of Ilmango's wiring world for these types of circuits, but I've kind of modified and updated it a little. And it is actually super difficult to get in here and show you anything, but the pipe coming from one side would push blocks into this spot. I've actually built this entirely wrong. We don't need to leave a hole for the piston to fire through. This is supposed to be one block lower, and the blocks that come in from the other side get pushed to here, and then they get pushed downwards. Now, this block right here kind of acts as a placeholder in the middle, because I was initially thinking you need a double piston extender to push it down, right? Well, you just leave a block in that spot, and then the next one to come along pushes it down to the bottom. Now, the reason we'll need an additional junction is because we can create something like this, and unfortunately my attempts to automate this hasn't worked out too well yet, but essentially it's a smooth stone generator, right? We can push this into our blast chamber, and of course it will get turned into cobblestone when it blows up. But I was thinking, if we can pair this with an automatic smelting system, some sort of replenishable fuel source, then we can turn the cobblestone into stone and the stone into smooth stone without lifting a finger, just leaving the whole set of machines running together. And of course, these are free things that we are selling in our rock shop. That is the next phase of the plan here, and looking at these big boxes, they do need some details on them to break that up. I've got some ideas. This one over here though, I just don't like the vertical height of it. It's too big, you know. So, 2 mega projects slowly moving along. I'm really enjoying it. I hope you are too. If you have enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like. It helps support the channel, and I'll see you very soon with another episode of Hermitcraft. So, ciao for now. Bye-bye.